This is the story of the Canary Prince. Once upon a time, there was a king who had a daughter. When the girl's mother died, the king married another woman. However, the stepmother felt intense jealousy towards her stepdaughter. A few years later, the king also passed away. Then, the evil queen ordered the preparation of a castle in the forest for the princess to live in and sent some servants and ladies-in-waiting to attend to her. The princess was given a room in the tallest tower of the castle and was well treated, but she was not allowed to leave her room. Always alone in her room, the princess spent every day sadly leaning against a window that overlooked a forest. From her window, the girl could only see the treetops, the clouds, and the path of the hunters. One day, a prince from another kingdom passed through the forest. He was hunting a boar. As he neared the castle, he saw the beautiful girl leaning at the window and smiled at her. The girl also saw the prince, dressed in yellow with a hunter's rifle, and smiled back at him. From that day on, the two began to see each other through the window every day. One day, a fairy noticed them and decided to help them. The fairy went to the castle and gave the ladies-in-waiting a book to be delivered to the princess, saying it was a gift from her stepmother. When the princess opened the book, she read, "This is a magical book. If you turn the pages in one direction, the man transforms into a bird, and if you turn the pages in the opposite direction, the bird transforms back into a man." She then rushed to the window and started flipping through the pages hastily, witnessing the prince dressed in yellow transform into a canary. The canary flew and landed on the windowsill. She turned the pages of the book in the opposite direction, and the canary turned back into a prince. From that day forward, the prince visited the princess every day, and with each passing day, their love grew stronger. One day, the evil queen went to visit her stepdaughter. The queen opened the window, looked outside, and saw the prince dressed in yellow approaching the castle with his dogs. She became intrigued and, before leaving, instructed the servants to keep an eye on the prince who was lingering around the castle. The servants began to watch the two and soon discovered their secret, reporting it to the queen. So, on her next visit, the queen discreetly placed several pins on the princess's window without her noticing and then left. When the queen left and the prince approached, the girl quickly turned the pages of the book. The prince transformed into a canary, flew to the window, and immediately screamed in pain. The yellow feathers had been stained with blood as the canary had impaled the pins into his chest. He desperately flapped his wings until he fell unconscious to the ground. Unable to understand what had happened, the princess hastily turned the pages back, hoping that returning him to human form would make the wounds disappear. However, the prince reappeared bleeding. The noise attracted the prince's dogs and hunting companions, who rushed to his aid and carried him back to his castle. The king, the prince's father, promised treasures to anyone who could heal him, but none of those who came forward managed to save him. However, the princess was distraught because she couldn't see her beloved. So, she tied several sheets together to make a rope and escaped from the tower through the window. As she followed the hunter's trail toward the prince's castle, the princess encountered the fairy who had given her the book. The girl told the fairy that the prince was very ill. The fairy then said to her, "The prince can only be cured with a princess's kiss." Upon hearing this, the princess was overjoyed and shouted with happiness. She quickly walked towards the castle. When she arrived and introduced herself, she was taken to the prince. He was lying in bed with a high fever. When she reached her beloved's bedside, the princess kissed him, and his wounds immediately disappeared. Overjoyed, the princess called for the king. When he saw his son without wounds, peacefully sleeping, he said to her, "Ask me for anything you want. All the treasures of the kingdom are yours." "I don't want money. What I want is to marry your son," said the princess. At that moment, the prince woke up and recognized his beloved. In a few days, they were married and lived happily ever after, far away from the evil queen. Remember to like the video and subscribe to our channel to watch the next videos. Bye.